Let's begin right here. Provincial Task Team, a member of the ANC in the Eastern Cape, Stella Ndabeni Abrahams, says the party doesn't foresee further delays affecting the 9th Provincial Elective Conference. The conference has been extended to tomorrow due to delays yesterday. Now, some members of the W.B Rubusana region unsuccessfully tried to obtain a court interdict preventing some of the delegates of the region participating in the voting process. The application was struck off the roll with costs. Today, delegates will be dealing with policy issues, adoption of credentials, and the election of the new provincial leadership. Earlier, ANC member Mlibo Qoboshiyane joined the Babalo Madikizela faction, saying there are no factions within the ANC's 9th Provincial Elective Conference. Qoboshiyane says his interest is only to serve the ANC and the people of the Eastern Cape.
Even now, it's not about any personality convergence, but it's about the interest of saying we have to move this province forward. And indeed, the clergy of this province, religious bodies, try to facilitate this between myself, himself, and Comrade Oscar, so that we can deliver a better, well-coordinated conference with less tensions. That they have done. Both of us, we've attended that session. Unfortunately, we couldn't be together as three proposed, because this is just a proposed list. The conference is going to pronounce on elected leaders of the African National Congress.
Have you spoken to Oscar Mabuyane since you joined the Babalo Madikizela faction, and what did he say?
But I will have a problem to say it's Babalo faction. There is no faction here. This is a meeting of delegates. There is absolutely cross-pollination of ideas. We talk, we convince each other. That's why the rules are allowing that delegates in this conference can do so, convince each other, win others, and so on. And I haven't yet spoken with him, but we met here yesterday, we talked, but we never get into details of where one is going, what is being offered, because all of us, we were preferred leaders in this conference.
What were your discussions and what were the final conclusions with the perspective supporting Babalo Madikizela and Terrison Tutu and Olele Kompela? Where are they slotting you in their top 5 or PEC, or is there perhaps another talk of an executive position should there be a reshuffle if they were to win the conference?
I indicated to comrades that they must not worry about me being in any of the top 5. That's not my interest. I served top 5 in the Youth League, and I think that was sufficient. Anything that may happen in the reconfiguration must never be a determinant for me to serve this province. And I said to them, my availability is to serve people of this province, the African National Congress, for which I'm a member since Youth League to date. Now, if which position, really, it's not the preoccupation. What I need, I am available to serve Eastern Cape Collective.
On a national aspect, you've been seen and you're a very adamant supporter of former President Jacob Zuma. Some have said that one of the reasons that you may be sidelined, perceived to be sidelined by the incumbent national leadership is your closeness and your support of the former president. What is your view, particularly when it comes to those murmurs?
I don't understand if I'm supporting president is a crime. He's a former president of the African National Congress, elected 2 terms. I was in the Youth League that was campaigning for him. That one is true. I was in the PEC of Eastern Cape that voted for him in 2 conferences, and I was the spokesperson of this province during that time. Each decision taken in that PEC, I was part of the people who were pronouncing. All of those that I served with, starting from Comrade Pumulo and Comrade Mabuyane, we were together in support of former President Jacob Zuma. And that is not a sin, that is not a crime. But President Zuma was not available for any election in 2017. I don't know who will have a wisdom of characterizing us post that date as former president. Who was not supporting him? I just want to know, if they were not supporting him, they were supporting who? He was the president. My respect, understand that they supposed to have also supported the president of the ANC. If that is a crime, who elected him? Was it me alone? This province went to Limpopo and we went to Mangaung, I believe. We elected President Zuma and we can pronounce our position quite clearly. These lies that are peddled, that there are people who support President Zuma is a retiree. Everybody knows he's staying in Nkandla, what will be the point of being labeled each and every time you stand that you are Zuma person? Why must we divorce ourselves from reality and truth that indeed we supported him? So I don't understand this. Why is it created to be apportioned to others? In this province, the entire collective supported him.
Are there some in your province who are using the name of former president, rather the incumbent president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, just in order to propel themselves as leaders of the province by using their perceived proximity towards him?
I may not know that, but what I know is that we need to respect the president of the African National Congress in office, and we need to give all the support to him because he is presiding over the affairs of this organization as elected leader under this term. So if there are those that wish to expropriate him to be theirs, who is going to be our president? We suppose all of us to say he is a president of the African National Congress and he must be accorded such respect, because one day they will also be labeled as people who support if he's a former. So these are the things that we're supposed to understand as members of the ANC. The president of the organization is elected by popular mandate of its own members. And President Cyril Ramaphosa is not an exception to that. We're supposed to give and accord him that honorable respect. And I believe
Well, let's continue on that conversation. Now we're joined by a political analyst, Dr Mkhuseli Vimba. A very good afternoon to you, Dr Vimba. Now let's talk about just that clip that we've just played, Mlibo Qoboshiyane joining Babalo Madikizela's faction as the ANC's 9th Provincial Elective Conference gets underway in East London again for supposed to be day 3. What does that mean for Oscar Mabuyane's race in this regard?
Thank you, and afternoon to your viewers. The joining of hands between Madikizela and Qoboshiyane will boost Madikizela's slate a great deal. And because this is a national conference, a provincial conference, and people can defect even during the voting session. So it may have a little impact if they lobby people, because you can lobby from both sides and you can get the votes that are said to have been taken by either of the parties involved. So my view is that it will not have that much significant effect, but it's a serious boost, to a very significant boost for Madikizela.
Now, interestingly, earlier Mr. Qoboshiyane saying that there are no factions within the ANC's 9th Provincial Elective Conference. It begs the question, why so much time then was spent during the opening of the conference and subsequent days leading to the conference spent again in the political report about unity and the need to promote or to not promote divisiveness through factionalism. What he is saying doesn't actually make sense, because also if you had to listen to what the ANC chairperson, national chairperson Gwede Mantashe was saying, that that you must stay away from factionalism, and again it's been nothing but the two camps being opposed to each other leading up to this race. Very tense indeed. What do you think Mr. Qoboshiyane meant by that?
Yeah, I think he's trying to be very smart and strategic, in the sense that we all know that there are slates within the ANC. But regarding this conference, one must bear in mind that the constitution of the ANC allows that these positions must be contested in these provincial and national elections, meaning that at the end of the day, it's not going to be easy, and people will come with their views and ideologies and try to redirect the organization if it is failing to do some of the things. For example, the Qoboshiyane and Madikizela slate are putting forward service delivery to say that the province has deteriorated over time and it has regressed. So that simply means that at the end of the day, they are putting something on the table for the people of the Eastern Cape, and that's what they see as differentiating them from Mabuyane. So, meaning that at the end of the day, it is the responsibility of the ANC at national level to unite the ANC and the members and to tell them that this is part of democracy. So if you lose, then you have to accept that you have lost the elections then and respect those who have been appointed or elected in the conference. So for me, he is being smart because there are a lot of differences between them. And the very fact that they can come up and say, we contest the elections because we want to better the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape, that tells you that they are not satisfied with Mabuyane.
Dr. Vimba, you know, today delegates will be dealing with policy issues and adoption of credentials and, of course, the election of the new provincial leadership. Now, I want you to just, focus on the two, particularly the adoption of credentials. How crucial is this particular element?
This is very crucial in the sense that any election is a game of numbers. So if the people are bringing in people who are not supposed to be in the conference for them to gain numbers, that becomes a problem, and it also undermines democracy. So each and every party that is involved in these elections would want to make sure that at least the people who are there are legitimate members of the ANC and those who are eligible to vote. So the issue of the delay of the conference to today, and I would applaud the ANC, because if it was done at night, maybe there would have been an exodus. But the very fact that they delayed to today, which is also regrettable, that conferences are taking more than 4 days. But I think it was a strategic move to make sure that at least the credentials are cleared and everyone is happy, but there may be a collapse of the conference if they don't agree, despite the fact that they're already in the conference or in the conference room. So it is very important because it determines who is going to be in control of the ANC, as numbers count most in this regard.
Now, on the issue of just the policy issues, I'd like to just, remind the viewers, for the benefit of this next question, that of what Mabuyane said yesterday during the political report, saying that the conference should answer a series of questions. And I'd like to focus on the first point that he made. And he said one of the series of questions is whether the ANC is attracting members capable of being agents of renewal and change in people's lives. That is especially important for the Eastern Cape because, are they attracting the right members? Are they attracting the kind of leaders that will then, make sure that whatever unity and renewal comes into the party does have positive bearing on the national ANC?
Through that, I think that begs the question, because if they want to appoint or elect people who are agents of change, they have been in power for some time, including Madikizela. The question would be, what have they done to change the status quo in the Eastern Cape? You will recall that we have just had the local government elections and the ANC was rejected by the voters outright. Then the question is, what sort of leaders do they think they are? And what sort of leaders does the ANC need? So, meaning that at the end of the day, the ANC needs to do introspection. Those who want position, they must also answer what have they done to change the people, the lives of the people of the Eastern Cape. So for me, that goes without saying that the national leadership of the ANC would want to see leadership that will also close the gap and space that is there come the national elections in 2023. So for me, that becomes very important, because at this point in time, it may not necessarily it imparts on the national leadership, on the national ANC in that way, because we are heading to elections, the national elections. If the ANC is rejected again, it will be rejected on the basis that it's not delivering the services to the people, which I believe that is the reason why the Babalo slate is putting first service delivery as a way to change the status quo in the Eastern Cape.
Political analyst Dr Mkhuseli Vimba, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you so much. Thanks.
All right.